So I'm Billy Barraclough. I'm a photographer based in London. But this time last year, as the winter lockdown was happening, I came back to my family home, which is in Oxford, and I very frequently came to this particular nature reserve that we're at today called Otmoor, and started watching the starling murmurations and basically just really frequently photographing starlings, this space, kind of throughout the whole winter. So from about November through to about March. So I think when I first started coming to watch the murmuration, it was a pretty kind of just natural reaction to what was going on at the time. But over time, I did start to think about how, it kind of felt like the perfect remedy to our existence. During lockdown, we were living quite an individual, kind of independent kind of life. We weren't able to connect with many people around us, we weren't able to travel. And being able to come here almost daily and watch, starlings doing the murmuration, which is an act of, coming and being part of a crowd and enjoying the kind of ecstasy of a crowd, was particularly, I suppose, comforting during that time. It felt pretty kind of therapeutic in some way, just being able to see that the natural world was functioning as it should, whilst ours was somewhat kind of suspended. Just made me feel a bit more at ease at that time. In March, I stopped kind of shooting the project. I then, developed all the pictures, and it just so happened that Harry and Michael from Besides Press were on the same master's course that I was on. And so I was, starting to look at the pictures of starlings, and they started to become interested in them. And I started to kind of throw around some ideas about, what I wanted it to become, hopefully a book. And over time, the idea for Besides Press was also forming, the idea for my book was forming, and just kind of quite naturally, it kind of felt like we started to work together. And it was a really beautiful experience, actually, the kind of collaboration of kind of bringing that project to the book form. There was a few things we were really keen on kind of bringing to the book. Writing was one. So I became particularly interested in writing being part of the project because for me, the pictures feature so few tonal elements. So there's either the grey of the sky or the kind of black of the birds. And for me, it almost looked like the sky was like a page in white and the black of the birds was almost like kind of words in black. So for me, it was almost like the starlings were either individual letters or individual words kind of scattered across the sky. And so we became really interested in, pieces of writing sitting opposite kind of pictures and them kind of sharing the same kind of tonal elements. We came across Lou, and Lou had also been watching Murmurations over the same winter. So not only were they kind of, a poet, but they'd also kind of shared that experience of watching Murmurations during that particular period of time. And so what we have over the course of the book is, a sequence of images, but also a sequence of poems. So the sequence of images start as, that first starling comes into the sky and end or kind of follow this kind of progression where the kind of murmuration builds in intensity. And when it reaches its kind of most intense, they kind of calms down again until the birds roost at the end of the book. And the poems mirror that same kind of progression. So we were keen on the poems speaking to one another and starting quietly and expectant and building up in intensity and then kind of calming down again as you get to the end of the book.